Alright guys, we're going to be on this video doing chapter 3 learning target number 2. I can interpret and compute quotients of fractions divided by whole numbers. So up here, remember, we did like 2 divided by a third. Now we're going to be doing 1/3 divided by 2. So now it's kind of the opposite of what you saw. So it's you got a partial dividend and a whole number divisor. I personally think actually before I say that, go ahead and flip to, I forgot to put page numbers on here again. I apologize. I don't know. It's probably the 4th page or so. It should say learning target number 2 at the top. Okay. Now I personally think that this is the one that really makes sense to me. Maybe last one was a little bit confusing to you. Whole number by fraction or whole number divided by fraction. I think that this one is going to seem a lot easier to understand. Okay. So here's how I'm going to pose this. You can still think about it as, I actually, you know what? Here's how I want you to think about it. I want you to think of this as like cake or pie, because the dividend, remember, the dividend is the number that's being divided up. Okay? It's whatever it is. If I had a bag of Skittles, and if I had 100 Skittles, and I was dividing them among 25 kids, that would mean 4 kids per Skittle. Four Skittles per kid is what I was going for there. Okay? And that's just pretty simple division right there. I think all of you can handle that. Okay? And that's what this is. I want you to think of this dividend as, we're going to be thinking of it on this learning target as like cake or pizza or some sort of like food, because we all like food. So I want to always think about it like that. So when you do this, you have 2/3 of cake, let's just say. So let's just diagram this thing out. So please draw this the best you can. Okay. Now, when I say 2/3, I want to, first of all, I want to model this vertically. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to shade it. And then I want you to really think about what we just did here. What we really just did is, wouldn't a cake kind of look like this probably? It wouldn't have to look exactly like this, but truly a cake normally is rectangular, right? It can be circular too, but let's just think of it as rectangle. Okay? And if I'm taking 2/3, I have 2/3 of it remaining, that means that this third must have been eaten at the party. Okay? So there are just 2/3 left. Okay? Now, this, what are we dividing it by? The divisor. Okay? The divisor can be two things. It's either how many groups there are, or how many people are in each group, or how many items are in each group. Okay? Just like I said, I could do 100 divided by 25 on the example I gave with the Skittles. This is Skittles regardless. You don't have to write this, by the way. This is Skittles. The 25, if I didn't give you any information, it could mean two things. It could mean there are 25 kids, or it could mean there were 25 in each group, and I could be figuring out how many groups. Regardless, whenever you're given the whole, you can divide to get a part. Okay? So that's kind of what I'm trying to get you to see. But I want you to think of this divisor as people. Okay? So we're thinking of the dividend here as a cake or pizza or some sort of food. I like cake because I think it's easy to understand. Okay. Now, here's what I have left for my cake. So you and your friend, or well, 2 people, you're going to cut this thing like this. So I show it like that. I'll show it this way, and then I just take it and I cut it like this. I just take a big knife and I cut it. Now, what this represents is this is one friend, and this probably looks completely ridiculous to you right now, but I promise you, after we do a couple, the light bulb is gonna come on. Okay. Now, as we look at this model here, let's think for a second. We started with 2/3 of cake. That's what you saw shaded. Then I took that 2/3 of cake and I cut it in half because I have 2 people. Now, if there were 3 people I was sharing with, I'd cut it into 3 sections going this way. Okay. If there are 4 people, I'd cut it just like this. Don't do this, but it would be just like that. Now I'm cutting in between 4 people. So this one row up here represents 1 person. This represents 1, 1, and 1. Okay? Obviously, we're going to get less. But when we're splitting it like this, let's think about this. How much is one friend going to get? Now, if we're going to think of it as slices or pieces of cake, he's going to get two pieces of cake. But you guys got to come away from that thinking. Because we don't know how this cake is cut. This thing could be cut in here like this. So this doesn't mean two pieces. We want to know the part to the whole. So, yes, they are getting two. Each person's getting two, but out of what? Well, how many total pieces were there in the beginning when the cake got delivered from the cake factory? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 2/6, which simplifies to 1/3. Okay? If you don't remember how to simplify, I'll show you real quick. You want to find a common factor. Because they're both even, they have a common 2. You're going to divide the top by 2. You're going to divide the bottom by 2 and make equivalent fractions. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That means that each friend got 1/3 of the cake. Okay? Which makes sense because if two friends were getting the remainder of the cake and one got 1/3 and the other friend got 1/3, they both together have 2/3 of cake. Okay? Now, what I want you guys to always be doing, yeah, I want you to model it, but I want you guys always checking using the algorithm. Now, we got to think back. You might forget. Let me show you. 2/3 divided by 2. Okay? Remember, division is just multiplying by the divisor's reciprocal. So here's 2/3. That's your dividend. That doesn't change. This becomes multiply. And then we got to do the reciprocal of 2, which is 2 over 1, which is 1/2. We do this, we get 2/6. We multiply straight across. 2/6 equals 1/3. Okay? Trust me, you probably are sitting there going, okay, I kind of saw how he did it, but how am I going to figure this out? I promise you will. I promise. Just give me some time to figure this out. Okay? Or give me some time to explain it more, and you're going to get it. I promise. It actually makes sense. This is the one that I think, this modeling of this actually makes the most real-life sense out of any of the modeling we did last learning target or that we're going to do in the future ones. Okay? So, I have 4/7 of cake. That's how we say this. 4/7 of cake. So that doesn't mean, it just tells us an amount. 4/7. So here I got my rectangular cake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into sevenths, and I'm going to model 4/7. You know, and that's what I want you guys to really start seeing is it's the same process that we did in the last unit. Here, those are terrible. Let me start over. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy. 4, 5, 6. Now, if you're ever wondering how to do that, just always take do one less line than whatever you cut it in, because the end will be whoops, don't want to do that. Whoops. Okay, so there we go. We were supposed to cut it in 7, so we did 6 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now we got to shade I'll do that in green. We got to shade our cake because we have 4/7. So, what's step 1? Model the dividend. Okay. Now, if you think back here, as I flip back, you don't have to do this, but you can see our work's still here from when I did the other video, the first video, and what we did every time, like this problem right here, was 2 divided by 2/3. What was the first step? Model the dividend. Model the dividend. That's the first step. That's what I want you guys to see. We are modeling 2 wholes, and then we're cutting it into thirds. Okay? Then we're looking for how many groups of 2. That gets a little bit different, but it's all about modeling the dividend to start, and that's what we did here. We now have 4/7 of cake. That means that 3/7 has been eaten. Okay? Now we have our 4/7 model. Now remember, this divisor in this case, it is the amount of friends you have and how many people you want to split it amongst. We're splitting it amongst 2 people. So we're going to take it and we're going to draw a line. We're splitting it. Okay? Each row here, this is one friend of yours. This is another friend of yours. Okay? How much is each friend going to get? Well, each one's going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. But remember, it's not necessarily 4 pieces. We want to know the part to the whole. And they're not getting 4 out of people. Some people want to make this mistake. This is wrong, but just pay attention. I want to make sure you understand this. Some people say, well, they're getting 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 8 that are shaded right here. Well, no, that's not right. We don't want to know that. We want to know from the whole cake. You can't say they're getting half the cake. They're not. You could say that they're getting half of what's left. That makes sense, right? There was 4 pieces left. They did get half of that. But we don't want to know that. We want to know how much of the entire cake did they get. This over here has been eaten, but it's still part of the cake. So now we're looking, going, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then how do we figure out the whole? Well, how many pieces is this entire cake cut into? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Each friend gets 4/14 of cake. Now, keep in mind, we always want to simplify. What is a factor, a common factor of these two numbers? Well, 2. So divide them both by 2. They're both even, right? That's 2/7 and 2/7. So one friend got 2/7, another friend got 2/7. Let's make sure it makes sense. If one friend got 2/7, another friend got 2/7, that means together they have 4/7. Isn't that how much cake we started with? Yes, it is. Let's go to the next page. And I got a bunch on here. So I'm going to have you do some, and I'm going to do some, and I'm going to do 2 more here, and then I'm going to have you do a couple. Now we're going to skip this one. Not that it's difficult or anything. It's very easy. I'm just going to skip it because it's going to take me a long time to put these 13 strips in here. But think about it. We'd model the dividend into 13 pieces. We'd shade 12 of them, and then we'd cut it into 3 people. And then we'd figure out how many does each friend get. Okay? But let's not do that. Let's not waste time. Okay? So, first of all, step 1, model the dividend. The dividend is 1/3, so we have to do that. So I got to cut it into thirds, and I got to show you 1/3. Okay? So here's my 1/3. Makes sense, right? That's how much cake I have left. The other 2/3 have been eaten. These 2 over here, gone. They've been eaten. I've only got 1/3 left. Now I got a bunch of friends over at my house. They're asking for some cake. So what I got to do is I got to cut it into 8 slices. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to slip one in up here. 7. Now I'm looking, going, okay, each one of these rows, these aren't very good, but you get the picture. Each friend is going to get one of these here. So how many slices is each friend getting? Each friend is getting 1 slice out of how many total slices? Well, count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Each person gets 1/24 of that cake. Not getting very much. Okay? So that's that. Okay? Let me do one more here. I'll do one more. First of all, you model the dividend. So we do that. I got to cut this thing into 9ths. So that means I'm going to draw 8 lines. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay? Now I'm going to shade 8 of those. Okay? 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. Okay, so now there's 8. Now I'm dividing among my 4 friends. I have 4 friends over at my house. I need to share my cake with them. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3. That gives me my 4 friends. Here's one friend, here's one friend, here's one friend, and here's one friend. Let's figure out each friend's going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of not what's left, the entire cake. How many, now that I've got this cake all cut up, how many pieces are there? Well, there were 9 slices in each row times 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 4 would be 36. That's going to give us, we can use divide by 2. We're simplifying. Divide by 2. I know there's not much room here, so just bear with me. 4 out of 18. Now those are both still even, so I can still divide by 2. I can divide out a common factor. 2/9. Each friend is getting 2/9 of a pizza. So each friend. So if I add 2/9 plus 2/9 plus 2/9 plus 2/9, I had better get what? That's one friend got 2/9. Another friend got 2/9. Another friend got 2/9. Another friend got 2/9. So how much do I add up? Remember, when we're adding, we keep the denominator the same. We just add numerators. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry. 2, 4, 6, 8. Isn't that how much cake we started with over here, guys? Okay. Hopefully the light bulb is going on right now. I think it probably is. Okay. Now, we thought the answer was 2/9. So now let's do the algorithm just to check, because that's always a good check. So remember, division is just multiplication by the divisor's reciprocal. So we have 8/9. Divide becomes multiply. The reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Let's check it. That becomes 8/36. Okay? And then you can simplify like we did from there. Now let me show you another little way. You can do something called cross-simplifying. Okay, when you have numbers across from each other. If there is a factor that they share, you can divide out that factor. So I know that 4 and 8 has a factor of 4, so does 4. So if I divide 4 out, that becomes 1. If I do 8 divided by 4, that becomes 2. Now I don't have to simplify. 2 times 1 is 2, 9 times 1 is 9. Okay? Just a little trick you can do. Okay? All right, I want you to please do numbers. Well, there's no numbers, but just go ahead and try this one on your own and this one. And then we won't worry about this one, and then we'll be done. So we kept it kind of short. Okay? Okay, so here we go. Remember, first step, model the dividend. Remember, the dividend is a first number. So I got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I've got a shade. And again, if you have colors and you want to bring them to class tomorrow, please do. Because colors will help you, just like we did on the last learning target. There's my 3/5 of my cake. I have 3/5 of that cake. So now I'm going to divide it among my 6 friends. So here's my 6 friends. So 1 friend, 2 friends, 3 friends, 4 friends, 5 friends, and then 6 friends. Remember, each one is a friend. Each one of these rows we cut it into. 1 friend, 1 friend, and 1 friend. So now, how much is 1 friend going to get? Well, let's look at it. There it is. Each friend is getting 3 over, again, not what's left. What did we start with? What is this entire cake cut into? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 times 5 is 30. And I just counted the columns and the row. How many columns, how many rows, and you can do multiplication that way. Now when we simplify, I see that both these numbers have a common factor of 3, so that's going to become 1/10. Okay? So each of my 6 friends gets 1/10. If we add up 1/6 times it, or plus itself 6 times, because there are 6 friends, I'm going to get 6/10. What does 6/10 simplify to? 3/5. We divided 2 out. Okay? And the last one here, we're going to cut it into 6ths. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm going to shade 5 of those. So 1, 2, 3. Can't believe I'm using Steelers colors. 4 and 5. Okay? Now I'm going to divide among my 6 friends. There's 1 friend, 2 friends, 3 friends, 4 friends, and 5 friends. So once again, each one of these is representing 1 friend. I know that one of my friends is going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the whole, which is 36. Each friend gets 5/36 of cake. Okay? And if you need to count every single square of every time to get that denominator, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be 30. I'm sorry. Whoops. Sorry about that. That's my mistake. If you got that, I sincerely apologize. I miscounted there. Or no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's 6 times 6. I'm sorry. It is 36. Jeez. Okay. So yes, it is 5/36. Okay. Oh, that's really skinny. So hopefully you guys get it. And again, always check using the algorithm too. 5/6 would just become times 1/6. So there you go. There's your answer. It's 5/36. And I hope you're starting to see how these numbers are coming together. This is just reinforcing this algorithm. Because let's face it, when you guys get out in life, and if you ever have to use this skill, you're going to use the algorithm. Multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, that's how you're going to do it. You're not going to get a piece of paper out and model it, but the model shows you why the algorithm is true, and that's why we do it. So, I will hopefully you guys get it. See you tomorrow.